Today's episode is sponsored by Some Edibles CBD infused products. That's SUM Edibles and can be found at
someedibles.com.
They have a variety of yummy treats, including
vegan organic gummies,
brown buttered chocolate chip cookies,
and marshmallow cereal bars, just to name a few.
For fans of the podcast, you can use the promo code WIFE, that's WIFE, to receive 10% off your order.
Again, promo code WIFE for 10% off your order.
So, head to someedibles.com today. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Drunken Housewife Reviews. I'm Sarah, the Drunken Housewife.
And I'm her husband / host, Ian. And I basically my job is to try to keep her on the rails,
which is a full-time job. We are here with John Bukowski. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You are indeed.
Yay! I just wanted to make sure. And you are the author of a new book, Project Suicide.
And here it is.
Yes.
There we go.
And I got to say, it is an
Usually
interesting. Yeah, it is an interesting premise. I'll just give a brief little. So high-profile politicians are committing suicide, or are they? And it's up to Dr. Deacon Creel. Is that right?
That's right.
To save the day. And I got to say that is an interesting premise. You know, serial.
Yeah, it's even more than that, because it's a cure for Alzheimer's disease that's perverted into a suicide drug.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, that just sounds really, really intriguing. Really, really intriguing. Yeah. So doing research on you, I was telling Ian, I'm like, this guy may be too smart for us. I don't know.
I doubt that. My wife would tell you different.
Because you have a background in medical research. You were a practicing veterinarian, or still are?
Yes, I was a practicing veterinarian in the 1980s in the Detroit area, my hometown.
And you've written like numerous medical papers, research articles.
My writing journey is a little bit different from most people for fiction, because I started in the hard sciences. I got my veterinary degree and practiced veterinary medicine, then went from that and got a couple of research degrees in epidemiology, which, thanks to COVID, I don't have to explain to people anymore.
Yeah.
They kind of know it's disease detective, not a skin doctor.
Yeah.
And I transitioned from that, got tired of the corporate grind, and went into medical writing. And I did contract medical writing for several years. And during the Great Recession of 2008 to 2010, I had some time on my hands because business was slow. And I always wanted to write fiction. I loved reading and loved my English classes in college. So I said, I'm going to take a stab and write a book. I did. That's not Project Suicide. Several books later, I've gotten Project Suicide published. And so that's my latest book. That's my debut novel, but my latest book that I've written.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm just like intrigued. How did you come up with this idea for a cure for something being perverted into this like method, this serial killer method, basically?
Well, I don't know if you've known anybody who's had dementia or Alzheimer's disease. A lot of people have now. And my father-in-law suffered from it. I used to visit him every week at the nursing home. And I watched over a period of 2 years this man who was a brilliant engineer, did race car engine research for Ford Motor Company in the 60s.
Wow.
I watched as he got to the point where he couldn't remember how to tell time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, he didn't have Alzheimer's. It wasn't that bad. But it got me thinking. I knew they were looking for a cure for it. And I thought, that's when I had my what if moment. When writers are asked, how do you come up with an idea? Usually it's some form of what if. What if a killer shark terrorized a resort community and the chief of police was afraid of the water?
Yeah.
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 What if you could actually get DNA from fossils and make yourself a dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are big what if ideas. Mine was, what if there was a cure for Alzheimer's disease, but it had a bad side effect? What if when it deactivated the gene for Alzheimer's disease, it also deactivated an adjacent gene for self-preservation? So
Oh,
as your
yeah.
sense of self came back and your realization of who you are and what you were, you got a sense of self-loathing at the same time.
Gotcha.
And now
Okay.
the big what if you gave that to a person who didn't have Alzheimer's disease? It would still block the self-preservation gene, and it would be the perfect assassination weapon.
Yeah.
The target, the victim takes out themselves. You are completely free and
Wow.
clear. And that's what I thought. There's a book in that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Definitely.
potential for that. Oh my God.
Definitely. And I mean, with your background in medical research, it just seems like a happy little marriage with your idea, and you're all, you already have all this knowledge,
Yeah.
and it just kind of,
I've been a big,
you know,
yeah. It links up several things that people are really concerned of these days. Number one, Alzheimer's disease and all types of dementia. As you said, you knew people, I've known people that have suffered from it. The whole idea of suicide, which since COVID has been going up,
yes.
Yeah.
and also the idea of drug side effects or adverse events, which also, with the vaccine and stuff, people are concerned about that. So I think it melds three things together very nicely in the public consciousness.
Yes, yes, definitely. Because your book is available on Amazon, and
Correct.
I downloaded the free sample, and just the free sample, I'm like, I need to read more. So just that little just that little blurb that they give you, I'm like, okay, I need to, what, and then what, and then what, which is a good sign for me.
Yeah.
For a book, is when you just read, because I love that Amazon offers those free little samples. Because it does give you that taste where it's like, okay, this is not my alley, or yeah, this is. And with yours, it was like, okay, what's next? Does he save the day? And I mean, he's a very flawed individual. So
yes, he is.
I love a good redemption story.
Epitomizes, yeah, Deacon kind of epitomizes the theme of the book, which is that you have to balance emotion with logic. Deacon's a very analytical man. He's very logical. He's thought of as a wunderkind. He's kind of an aging wunderkind, but he graduated veterinary school at 21 years of age. That kind of thing. And but he is flawed, as you say, because he can't deal with things like guilt. He has guilt over the loss of a loved one, his partner. He has guilt over bringing Project Suicide into the world, and he deals with that by drinking. And that's how we find him in the beginning. He's being bailed out at night court in Columbus, Ohio, on a drunken disorderly charge. So, and the book is kind of like I'm a big fan of Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park, Andromeda Strain, all that stuff. And so it has some techno thriller aspects of that, where you get entertained and also a little bit educated. You can't go through a Michael Crichton book without understanding a little bit about genetics or about electron microscopy or whatever, depending on the book.
Yeah.
It's a little like that. It's not enough to, I would say, turn people off. It's not that technical. It's just a little bit of technical detail that draws you in. I always like to say that a good writer is like a good con man. They're going to sell you a bunch of BS, but first they got to get you hooked.
Yeah.
They got to give you that little taste of reality, something you can go, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And so that's what I tried to do with Project Suicide.
Yeah. And like I said, just that brief little sample, I'm like, okay,
That's
then
great.
and so that's yeah. Because like I said, I love that they give you that free sample because I don't know how many times I've bought a book and gotten,
I've done the same thing.
like a chapter into it and it's like, but this, yeah, this way it's like, okay, I'm already hooked with this little sample. So I need to know more. So obviously we all know what Sarah's going to be, doing for the rest of the summer, with her reading. Um, and that's one thing I love about this podcast is we've met authors that we probably never, would have heard of, or, without it. Or,
Sure.
directors and actors and stuff.
Oh,
So we've been
such
able
fascinating
to, yeah,
people.
we've been able to
Yes.
find new stuff that, intrigues us.
And we're all about finding new stuff.
yes,
Definitely. It's
definitely.
just we really want to boost new works of whatever it is. So that's totally our alley.
Yeah. So I'm adding you to my reading list. Definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity because whether you're with a big press or a small press or whatever, marketing is still a big part of a writer's life. Writers are generally introspective people. They're not real outgoing, so it's always a challenge to get the word out.
Yeah.
Especially there's so many things that are published now.
Exactly. On your because you have a website.
I do. It's
called-
www.thrillerjohnb.net.
There you go.
Yeah, and on your website, there were pictures that looked like theater stills from
That's
plays.
right.
So
I was very active in community and to a certain extent regional theater in New Jersey and in Southern Ohio around Dayton, where I lived for 16 years. And I played Elwood Dowd in Harvey.
awesome.
I was Jonathan, the evil brother in Arsenic and Old Lace. I was Sky Masterson in Guys and Dolls. Don Quixote in Man of La Mancha. Have some vocal training, singing various languages, and
Awesome.
yeah, I did that for quite a few years.
Yeah, because we have a theater background, so that was the first thing.
Oh,
yeah, that's the one thing I noticed when I was scrolling through. I'm like, those are theater stills. I'm gonna ask them about theater because I know I've mainly done community theater,
right?
And I love the just intimate setting of a community theater. It's
exactly. I always thought it's wonderful. It's people of the community entertaining other people in the community. It's not this. You see it with you've been to Broadway shows. It's them up there, and then you little peons down here. In community theater, it's your friends and neighbors who are entertaining you and typically do a darn good job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely their way of expressing, even if they don't feel that they would actually go on to do it, quote, professionally. It's just still something part of them that they want to express, and that's anytime you can tap into whatever creative side that you have is always a good idea.
Exactly. And I mean, I know we have made friends in community theater that
absolutely
are
lifelong friends.
Yeah, lifelong friends. Yeah, two of them are my daughter's godparents. So
there you go.
Well, that's good.
So yeah, and one of them has made all of her prom dresses. So
hey,
it helps to have a costumer. So
you can also pick up those skills in theater. I knew makeup people who did the costumes, people who were just fantastic set designs. The set design when I first did Arsenic and Old Lace, both times I did it as Jonathan, were just unbelievable, professional quality.
Yes,
it could have been on Broadway.
Yeah, and these are people that are teachers or insurance salesmen or whatever during the day. Yeah. But at night they show an incredible skill for theater, and I love seeing that get tapped into, and I love seeing people if you pass them on the street you wouldn't think that they could do that, but here they are, they're an incredible actor or incredible singer, or as you mentioned, set design, costuming, makeup. It's just it's fun to give people that creative outlet. you know, I enjoyed it, and it's nice to talk to a fellow, you know, community theater.
Yeah. I haven't done it in a few years because for a couple of reasons. One, I've been concentrating on my writing,
Yeah.
and that eats
Yeah.
up a lot of time writing and promoting. And the other was I was getting a little too old for the good younger parts, and I didn't look old enough for the old man parts that are good. So I was kind of in limbo, and I said, I'm gonna stick to my writing.
Yeah, I feel you on that, because yeah, I've hit that stage where it's like I'm too old for the parts that I would really like to play,
Right.
but not old enough for the other parts that I would like to play.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not ready to be somebody's grandmother.
Yeah.
You know, I still feel like I'm 20 in my heart. So
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do.
yeah,
I hear
so
you.
I feel you on that, because I know there, you know, there have been many times when I've read the character, you know, characters needed for a play, and I'm like, oh, I would love that part, but they're 30 and I'm 55, and I just
And community theater will stretch those numbers, but they can only stretch them so far.
yeah.
If it calls for somebody who's 25, 30, I probably don't look at it anymore.
Yeah, and I
Sad to say.
yeah, and
Well,
I definitely don't.
So is there any kind of like small film roles that you might want to do in the future, or
Oh,
just
I
throw 'em in
would
there?
be. I've had a lot of people tell me, both with Project Suicide and some of my other writing beta readers have read. They go, "This really reads like a movie in my head," which is great.
Okay.
This is what you
Yeah.
wanna. This is what you want to see. We all basically, all writers are making a movie in their head, and they want the
Yes.
audience to see pretty much the same movie. Maybe not exact. Maybe the characters look slightly different, but they're seeing the same film. And so, yeah, I think it would translate into something cinematic pretty well. Project Suicide is what the industry would call high concept.
yes.
So if you know of anybody who is looking for a new work to work up, let me know. I'm certainly open.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. We are
You never
meeting
know.
we're meeting so many people that I always joke that if I were ever in a movie or on TV, my ideal role would be dead body number 3. I cover me in
I
blood.
actually knew someone who made a career of doing extra work. Somebody who worked within theater. He did extra
Oh,
work
okay.
constantly. He was a SAG member. He had hundreds of appearances on Law and Order and stuff. And he was usually like dead body, back of the head guy in the second row. That
Yeah.
kind of
Sure,
thing.
yeah.
But he
But
had a blast doing it.
yeah, I mean, you never know. We were just talking last night to Brandon Crane, who played Ben Hanscom in the
Oh yeah,
original It.
absolutely. Love that. Love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and we were talking about how extras can make or break a scene. And in the you know, miniseries It, there's that scene where all of these balloons are popping and spraying
Yep.
everybody with blood, and Tim Curry's
Yep.
going crazy all over the library. And if you watch the extras, not one of them moves, not one
Not
of them
even blinks.
flinches, not one of them reacts in any way, shape, or form to being splattered with blood or Tim Curry dancing around them, or you know,
Yep.
Yeah,
all of this. And I'm like, extras can be the rock star of a scene.
they
You
really
know,
can.
they
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
can. They don't have any lines, but if just one extra had ruined that scene, the whole scene
Ruin
would
the
have been,
take or
yeah,
whatever.
ruin
Yeah,
that take. The whole scene would have been ruined, but every single extra in there was just a major rock star. So, you know, good extras are worth their weight in gold
well, it's
sometimes.
definitely as
There's
far
no
as like a
small
small
parts
part.
to
Yeah,
all that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
it's all part of the puzzle. So there you go.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I
and another thing on cinematic, if there's any producers or something out there, be assured I don't charge as much as Stephen King or James Patterson. So you can get a little budget, save a little budget money there.
you're a little budget friendly for the Hollywood scene, which is, I mean, when you're an up and coming author, you know, that I think a lot of authors now that it would be like the ultimate goal is, can't, you know, having somebody want to make this into a movie. And I could, like I said, just from the little bit that I've read, I would go see that movie. I would go see it. I
Well,
definitely,
thank you.
you know,
And the goal is certainly money's fine. You make some money off of that, but the goal is it would get the idea in more people's heads, so that more people would read the book and enjoy the book.
yes,
So that's always a positive.
exactly.
Now a major motion picture, or now a Lifetime movie, or whatever.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
with
definitely.
streaming services now, Netflix and
Yeah,
Hulu, and
there's lots of things.
you never know.
There seems to be a lot more options.
Yeah,
So definitely,
you
yeah.
never know, and we will definitely keep our fingers crossed for you,
Well, thank you.
because like I said, I when I just read the description, I'm like, okay, this has me intrigued, and then I read the sample, and I'm like, okay, I need to know more. And and it's like I'm gonna have to download this to my, and it is available on Kindle, which is awesome.
It is available on Kindle. It's available on paperback. Both are reasonable.
Yes.
There's a hardback, like, I bought one, but I don't expect a lot of people.
Well, you never
And
know
the easiest way
if it takes off.
to get to it is www.projectsuicidenovel.com.
Okay.
Enter that in your search engine. It will take you directly to the Amazon page.
Okay. I'm trying to think, because
Well, my thought is now that the book is done, is there any other kind of medical influenced ideas for future books?
Well, I just started working on a sequel to Project Suicide.
oh, okay.
So you will see Deacon and Amy again.
Okay.
I'm also just putting the finishing touches on the next book I'm sending to my publisher, which is less medical. It's more of a crime thriller called Checkout Time.
That's her.
That's me. Yeah.
That's up her
About
alley.
a arsonist who is looking to extort money from a consortium of hotels.
Oh.
Starts off with a bomb in one of the hotels, and it just so happens on the same floor there is a beautiful FBI agent and a handsome government researcher who deals with commercial fires, staying on the same floor, so they can become caught up in the quest to pursue this arsonist, as well as become the target of this arsonist. So he's a mad bomber kind of deal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Definitely I'm gonna have to put you on my author watch list
Well, great.
for further books. Because I love crime novels. I love, I mean, Michael
Especially
Crichton.
true crime as well.
Yeah.
I agree with you. My favorite authors are people like, Stephen King, just because he writes so well.
Yeah.
But I've read almost everything Elmore Leonard has written, and he's kind of the king of crime fiction, king of dialogue.
Yeah.
I say to anybody, you want to learn dialogue, two things: read plays, like you have to do in community theater.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Read Elmore Leonard.
Yeah, because I know I have tried numerous times to write a book, and it's not easy. And yeah, and dialogue is where I get caught up every time. And I tell him, it's like, I'll get to like I'll have it in my head, but then like by chapter 2, I'm like, this sounds like a really bad Harlequin romance novel. I'm gonna just throw it in the trash and we're done with it, because it's just absolutely hideous and horrible, because my dialogue sounds so stilted and not natural at all. And
I myself
read good dialogue helps, but also read it aloud after you've written it. Yes. And as Elmore Leonard says, if it sounds like writing, rewrite it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a playwright myself, and done some short films as far as like that I produce. Throw them on YouTube. But yeah, the dialogue for me, that was what I would do, is that she would give me the ideas, and then I would type it up into the script. We're kind of working on a vampire script ourselves. So, but she had this
Right.
idea for the middle-aged vampire because she turned when she was like 40 years old. But so she always looks like she's 40 years old, and it kind of put it in a modern setting. And she's coming up with most of the plot and the scenes and everything. I'm just kind of writing it together and putting my snazzy language on it, I guess.
He's much better at
know,
dialogue.
so,
Yeah.
A midlife crisis for a vampire. I love it.
Yeah, she because I'm like, all vampires anymore in movies are like, these 20 to 30-year-old hotties that, have bodies by Planet Fitness and all of that. And I'm like,
Right.
I want an older vampire, but
Well,
not
yeah.
Crypt Keeper vampire, but she's 40,
Right.
she looks good, but I've always felt like the older you get, the more your thought process changes, the more your ideals change. And so, a 40-year-old vampire isn't going to go out willy-nilly just killing people to drink their blood.
Let me get this straight. Is this a VILF?
Huh?
A VILF? Is this a VILF? A VILF?
Kinda. But she
well, she's not exactly the thin frame. She's kind of a what do you want to say?
Like a softball player. She has an athletic body,
Okay.
athletic body. But
so she'll have a certain look.
Yeah.
As far as like a few curves, but not big per se.
Right.
If you see what I'm saying. Not
Yeah.
She's eating a Twinkie in her time.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
In between bites, she's taking a bite.
Yeah, she's had some cookies. But her whole moral code is she only goes after bad guys.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Gotta
love that.
Yeah.
And so she's actually the judge, jury, and executioner in this. So it's from her perspective, it's like, I saw you doing this. There's no process, blah, blah, blah.
You're done.
I'm eating you.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I need dinner. So you're toast.
So it's interesting from that perspective.
So yeah. But
Good luck with it.
Yeah, it started out as a book, and like I said,
Yeah,
about chapter 2, I'm like, no, I cannot do the dialogue. This sounds like a sappy Harlequin romance novel with vampires. It's not working.
Well, like I said, dialogue is tough, and the nice thing about dialogue, you can, the old adage, show don't tell. Dialogue oftentimes can show you a lot about the character without telling you a lot.
Yeah.
And can also show you something of the plot sometimes.
Oh,
without telling you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with the reading of the plays, because they actually have to use words more than actions. And so you pick up the natural tone of dialogue of your characters, whatever time period that you have it. And you can kind of adjust that, or even if you wanted to go stylized, you would be able to pick up the stylized dialogue if the stylized dialogue adds to the story, if it adds to the film, if it adds to the play. It just depends on what tone you're wanting, if you want naturalistic or if you want stylized, and however in between. Like David Lynch mixes all that stuff together so well.
Yeah.
He's
yeah. There are people out there that are just masters of it, that you're just like, you almost do want to, like, can I drink your blood and maybe I'll absorb your skill? I mean, it's just, I mean, like Stephen King, you can totally imagine everything that he writes because he does it so well. Michael Crichton gives you, that information that you need to understand what's going on, but again, doesn't overwhelm you.
And that's when people ask me about research. I was on a podcast where they said, you spend months interviewing people with Alzheimer's and stuff. Well, it's not really about the disease, it's about the drug. But also, with a modern electronic age, you can get that stuff from journal articles and other sources. And research in fiction is important. Like I said, it provides you that little hook that this guy, I'm buying this.
Yeah.
But you can't put too much of it. A little bit of it can get you the hook. and the rest of it is basically a big lie.
Oh yeah,
We
definitely.
tell lies and we just tell them very convincingly.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with any sort of technical medical, drama or, intrigue novel, like what you've written, you've got to give the audience a little bit of that explanation. But yeah, it's like there is a fine line between I've given you enough so you can understand what's going on and let me drown you in information to the point where
Right.
you're just like, my eyes have glazed over and I'm done.
Michael Crichton was asked if he visited a genetics research lab prior to doing Jurassic Park. And his answer was, why? They can't make a dinosaur either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's giving you BS, but with enough realism, enough truth behind it, that you go, yeah, I believe it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Suspend your disbelief.
You can
None of that, but you can
that
see
leap.
it being plausible. It's like even the
Yes.
science part of it is like, well, it sounds like it'd be plausible if that was actually, even if it wasn't true, it could have been as much as it sounds like it could be.
Right. We've all heard the commercials with drug side effects where it'll say, usually with some kind of psychotropic drug, let your doctor know if you got thoughts of suicide. And that when I was writing Project Suicide, that was also in the back of my head. People know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hear it on TV all the time. That could be a drug side effect. So
yeah,
which is weird is how they would like let that go through. Oh, if you take this, you might want to kill yourself. It's like, I don't think that should be on the market.
Well,
you figure that out.
That's the point for most of those drugs. It's people are already thinking about killing themselves.
Yeah.
They're antidepressant drugs, they're anti-anxiety drugs, and so they work on the same areas.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line between whether it's a side effect or it's the disease itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I mean, like with a lot of things, like your book, Michael Crichton books, all that, people have in their heads, we're constantly amazing our daughter, and she's like, well, when you were in high school, you just Googled that, right? And we're like, oh, sweet thing, no. You did not have Google.
Nope. You went to the library and hopefully you found some magazines.
I learned to type on an actual manual typewriter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That I learned on a manual typewriter as well. It's like, this was not even,
a thought at all
when we were in.
I have to tell you a little story. My wife is a medical editor. One day she was cleaning out papers in her office. This is many years ago, and she came across a mimeograph, one that's run off on a machine, and she said to the secretary, she made a joke and she sniffed it. We used to get those the tests that had been mimeographed off, and you smell that toluene. And the secretary looked at her and said, "What are you doing?" She had no idea what. She goes, "You're too young to understand."
Yeah.
It's like that scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High where they are handing out the papers and everybody's like,
yeah.
It was a different world then.
Yeah.
Right. If you wanted to do some research, you had to go to the library, pull out books, copy things down, or maybe do a photostat if you had the money.
Yeah.
Ask librarians for questions. Call people up. Now.
Yeah. It's just there it is.
You don't even need to visit locations a lot of times. You've got maps, Google Maps and stuff.
Yes.
Will let you see everything, including where the trees are.
Yes.
That's makes the writer's job a lot easier.
Yeah, but it also I think helps with that suspension of disbelief, that jump that people can have to take, because it's like, well, 40 years ago, cell phones were just being thought of, and now we're carrying around little mini computers in our hands. So okay,
like everywhere we go,
this could totally be possible in the future, because
exactly,
it's
especially
you have
advances in medical science. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You have a computer in your hand that does more than the NASA computers used to do in 1960.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think because of all the technological, advancements we've made, all the medical advancements we've made, it's very easy now for, people to be like, okay, that I'm with you on this journey. Sure, we can create dinosaurs in the future. Sure, we can come up with this cure for
Yeah,
Alzheimer's. Sure, we could, it's like, yes, okay, tell me more, because this could totally be possible. Who's to know 10 years from now?
yeah,
Things are advancing so quickly.
absolutely.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe
That's, it's technical fiction like that, a technical thriller is akin to science fiction.
yeah,
There's some truth in it, and maybe in the future some of it will even be more true. But for right now, there's enough realism to draw you in,
yeah,
and then you accept the rest of it.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's the same with a good play or anything.
Yes, yeah. This is normally the time when we let you plug away on stuff. So go ahead and give us your website where they can find your book.
Okay.
All of that.
Like I said, the book is available on Ingram, so you could get it at Barnes and Noble or any place. Easiest way is Amazon, and the easiest way to get to my page on Amazon is www.projectsuicidenovel, all one word.com.
Okay.
And it takes you right there for Kindle, hardback, paperback. Check out my website, www.thrillerjohnd.net. And there's some writing samples. I do a little blog thing. You can also sign up for my email list, and I send out little email things, little contests once in a while, some free short stories now and again.
Awesome.
Okay.
And I hope people read it, enjoy it. And one thing I would say, and this is true, if you want to thank any writer for writing something, post a review on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yes.
like I said,
People judge whether they're going to get a book oftentimes on the number and quality of reviews, and Amazon judges your placement based on the number and quality.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Reviews are huge now. So definitely. And I'm, like I said, it's definitely being added to my summer reading list, because
thank you.
It's a fascinating concept. Deacon he sounds like the kind of character that I'm like, come on, redemption arc, give me that. So
his character arc.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants a signed copy, they can drop on my website. There's a contact list, a contact form. You can drop me a note and send me a check for the cost and $4 shipping, and I'll send you a signed copy.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool. Oh, I just a couple of quick things. I was wondering, you say you just turned in your next book in. Is there any idea when that would actually be for sale as well? Or is that just something that you...
I'm guessing there's usually a lag time because it's got to go through a couple of editors.
Exactly.
And then there's back and forth with production and proofs, checking the proofs and all that stuff. That takes about 6 months. So I'm guessing it'll be early part of 2023.
Okay.
That's a guess at this point.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
if it goes faster, might be able to get it out for Christmas, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
You never know. You never know.
Oh, also, I just wanted to compliment you on being a book author, even though, like I said, I do plays and scripts. It's people keep asking me, it's like, well, are you going to put a book out? And I'm like, that's a whole different animal than the tone and the style of writing you're wanting and trying to keep that consistent through the whole thing. That's, for me, that's a lot more difficult than just action and words, and then you have it in your head and try to have that tone and style there. But with a book, it's like description and however you're putting it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. People, unlike a play where it's performed, people aren't inside your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know it very well and intimately, and that's a danger when you're revising, is it so well, you see the movie in your head, and you don't think, how is this going to read
Yeah.
to someone who wants to see that same movie?
Yeah.
And so that's why, it may take me 6 to 8 months to do a first draft, but then there's another 4 to 8 months of revisions. And
Oh, yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
go
To
through,
get just the
it'll
right
go through
style and
maybe
stuff. Yeah.
4 or 5 revisions before it gets the editor. And then it goes through another revision after the editor, And so, yeah, it's a lot of work. That's why there's so many authors with partially finished manuscripts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of beginnings, people will say. I've got a lot of first chapters. It's
Yeah.
muddled down when you get toward the middle.
I have a friend that she's an author, but she's also an artist as well. And she'll take first drafts of her novels and cut them up and incorporate them, like they'll become the branches of the tree, or the trunk and branches of the tree, or they'll become the house in the background, so you can actually read like bits of her books. And I was like, well, how'd you come up with that
That's
idea?
interesting.
Yeah, she's like, well, I had all these first drafts laying around and all
Yeah.
these partial that just weren't
But
working. And yeah,
there's so many athletes that you look at who are famous. They were good at baseball, football, basketball, all these things, but they had athletic bent. I think people with an artistic bent, it's the same kind of thing. There's writing and singing and performing, acting. And oftentimes people are good at a lot of those things.
yes,
If you have that kind of, I don't know, it's the left side, right side of your brain or whatever. I
yeah,
think it's the right side. But
yeah. I constantly
Either
joke.
side.
I have a lot of talented friends. I don't have, they have more talent in their pinky than I've got my entire body. But I love having those artistic talented friends, because then it's like, well, I'm their friend and they created this piece of art. It's like I kind of get to show off for them. So I love that
You
part
get to
of it.
gush over your friends.
I do.
and
I
there's
get to
nothing wrong
gush
with
over
that.
my friends because they're amazing. So hopefully your friends are gushing over your book. Hopefully, you're
well, I hope
Whoops.
oh,
you've frozen on me.
yeah,
There you go.
frozen.
There we go.
There we go.
You froze on me.
Okay, go ahead and redo your answer.
Yeah.
I edit this, so I can just
Yeah.
cut that out.
Okay, what was the question?
Well, hopefully your family is bragging about your book. Your friends are bragging about the book, because that's great word of mouth right there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's funny because one of my toughest critics is my older brother. I've given him some, years ago when I was just learning, I gave him some drafts. And you know how people will generally say to you, "Oh, great job, I loved it." And I'd say, "So, you want to read more?" And he'd go, "No." And he loved Project Suicide.
There you
Oh,
go.
Said,
there
wow,
you go.
I'm really impressed.
There you go.
So that's a little bit of ego boost there. But you're right. Your family talk it up on social media. Great podcasts like this, where it gets because, like I said, there's so much out there right now.
Yeah.
The independent, people doing self-publishing and stuff. There's just a lot of material out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, it's kind of
you
a
got a good
blessing and a
product. You
curse.
want people to find it.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. And hopefully this will help people find you. Because like I said, I haven't read more than the sample, but I'm already giving it 2 thumbs up. So
Well, I've had more than one person tell me they read it in 3 days, which I think is amazing.
Oh, see, that's a sign of a good book for me, because there have been many books where it's like, I'm sorry, I cannot function as a human being right now until I finish this book. You're just going to have to, the world can burn down around me, but I'm in the last chapter. I'm not doing anything until I finish this book.
There's that feeling, and then that feeling when you get done with a good book, that kind of like, wow, and depressed because it's over.
Yeah. It's like, well, now what? Now what?
Well, not only that, but the wow, depressed, but the processing of it, where you have to process everything that you just read. And okay.
Yeah.
Now I need.
Yeah. So again, the book is Project Suicide. You can get it on Amazon. You can
Project
get it
Suicide.
Project Suicide. You can get it Amazon. You said Barnes and Noble. It's Project.
Yeah, it's on Ingram,
Yeah.
and Ingram is a big
Okay.
distributor that
Yeah.
gets Barnes and Noble and Books a Million and all those things.
Uh-huh. And the website for the book is Project Suicide Novel.
It's www.projectsuicidenovel.com.
Novel.
Okay, and we'll
Okay.
include links below because this will go up on YouTube first, and so we'll make sure that we include links to
Okay.
the book and
I can send you
you
some
and-
links.
yeah,
Oh,
that'd
yeah,
be great.
that'd be great.
That'd be
Thank you.
great.
I'll
Because
just send you some links.
Okay.
that would be amazing. So again, this has been John Bukowski,
Bukowski, yes.
author of Project Suicide, which, like I said, it's being added to my summer reading list. So
Well, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it.
yeah, so thank you, John, for being here. This has been amazing. And
Thank you
everybody,
guys for having me.
yeah, everybody go check out the book.
Later on.
Peace.
That was author John Bukowski.
Yes.
The book is Project Suicide.
Mhm.
And like I said, it sounds like a fascinating novel. It's got all the ingredients I need, for a good read. So go check it out. And we are actually going to do the movie review, I think, as soon as we're done with this. So we're going to get that out. We're lining up more interviews. We're going to be doing more
Yes.
movie reviews. So stay tuned.